Welcome, everybody. The NFL season is over, which means it's time to look forward to the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm Joe with the Game House, and today we're going to be looking at a New Orleans Saints 2023 NFL Mock Draft. So, as mentioned, we have the New Orleans Saints on the clock on our 2023 NFL Mock Draft Series. This is a team that struggled a little bit last year. They are in a pretty bad NFC South, so a lot of things are possible, especially this offseason. They went and got Derek Carr. They had Jameis Winston last year, who's still on the team, kind of surprisingly, as a backup to Derek Carr. Andy Dalton is now in Carolina, but they have the quarterback position figured out. Chris Olave really stepped up last season, but now you have Michael Thomas probably coming back as well. We'll see how much he plays and how effective he is after not really being productive or on the field the last couple of years. But there's a lot of places they can go with a lot of their picks, which makes it more interesting. So let's get it started here with pick number 29. As a reminder, we're using the NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator. I like it because they use the internet's kind of rankings against each other to kind of see how players will stock up. And also, we're going to be directing all trades in this one. A lot of them just aren't that realistic. We are going to see players who end up falling, who maybe aren't going to fall this far, like Will Levis might not fall this far. But let's get to it. Let's go with this one. They do need some interior defensive line players. They lost a lot over the last several seasons, and they've added some guys who I think are more depth pieces, like Kalen Saunders. We'll see if maybe he can outplay what his past production was. But let's go Kalijah Kancey out of Pittsburgh. The guy is a little bit smaller, but just has really good burst, gets off the snap really, really quickly, and can be a menace on the interior for the Saints. All right, so the Saints will now have maybe a tougher decision to make here. Jalin Hyatt can provide that speed. I mean, yes, you have Michael Thomas, you have Chris Olave, you have Rashid Shaheed, whether you think he's going to continue to be productive or not, but that might be someone they consider as Jalin Hyatt here for that pure speed to stretch the field and open things up for their other wide receivers and for just Derek Carr in general. I would think they're going to go more so with an edge rusher here than a wide receiver. If you get Michael Thomas back, that kind of helps. And if he's anything kind of like what he used to be, that really, I think, can put some pressure on some defenses. So let's get some edge rushers here. Let's go with B.J. Ojulari, the edge out of LSU. Felix Anudike-Uzomah was also there, though. Ojulari is really athletic. I think his older brother Aziz is in the league with the Giants, so he's a guy who I think can make an impact in year one. Next pick up. Let's go with a lot of options here. Let's see what we can do. A lot of safeties. They don't really need safety. Wide receiver Tyler Scott can maybe provide that ability to burn deep like Jalin Hyatt did. Tank Dell could be that slot receiver. They will suggest Evan Achane, but I don't think that's going to be a pick. They just signed Jamal Williams. Even if Alvin Kamara does end up getting suspended, I don't really think that's too much of an issue. I'm going to go Luke Whippler, the offensive lineman from Ohio State, interior guy, center. I think he can step in and play multiple positions. There's a guy, the interior offensive line did not play that well the last season. They do have a lot of early first round, second round, third round picks playing on the interior offensive line, but I do think they can improve in the future here. Let's go to pick number 115 by the Saints, and let's go Eli Ricks, the corner out of Alabama. Had a great tape for LSU a couple of years ago, transfers to Alabama. Didn't start the season as the starter, probably in Nick Saban's doghouse. Didn't really have the season that many would have expected, but you can see the talent was there when he was at LSU. Maybe they take Eli Ricks there to help their corners, as outside of Marshawn Lattimore. Marcus Lattimore, really big throwback back in the day. Marshawn Lattimore, maybe help him out because he might be the best thing on the roster at that position. And there's not much else there. Next pick up, there's just a lot of options here. They want to take running back. I think we will here, actually. Let's go DeWayne McBride out of UAB. A guy, a lot of people have him higher. I think Mel Kiper has him like in the second round. I have pretty high on him as well. A tough runner, kind of a guy I think could kind of be like Dameon Pierce last year. If he's given the opportunity, he can be productive. Yes, I don't want them to take a running back with one of their first picks because they just got Jamal Williams and because they still have Alvin Kamara, but getting depth isn't a problem. I don't think Jamal Williams is much of a long-term answer, so get someone who could be there around for a little bit, especially at pick 146. If he makes the roster and provides any type of value, that could be really good. All right, the next pick up is 165. Let's go with Trey Palmer, the wide receiver out of Nebraska. He was a transfer from LSU, a guy who was pretty fast and I think tested pretty well at the combine. If Rashid Shaheed isn't the guy, then maybe you put Trey Palmer in there, give him a chance. Again, it's good to get depth here because you just don't know what Michael Thomas is anymore. You do know you have an absolute stud in Chris Olave, so hopefully he keeps it going next year, and then you got some more depth there with Trey Palmer. Next pickup, let's go Ryan Hayes, the left tackle for Michigan. I think he probably could play more right tackle in the NFL. He was part of a lot of good offensive lines in Michigan who ran the ball very well. It's never a bad thing to get depth. I think he's a guy who could turn into a productive player with some development. But I think he starts his career making the roster, and that's a good step for the Saints there. Next one up, let's go Rajon Wright, the corner out of Oregon State. Just again, getting more corner depth isn't a bad thing. They don't really have too much outside of Marshawn Lattimore. So they need to figure that out. And I think getting multiple players at that position isn't a bad thing. Get some guys who can play some special teams for you. So let's go back through the draft. We got Kalijah Kancey, the athletic interior defensive lineman from Pittsburgh, who's really fast at the snap of the ball. We have B.J. Ojulari on the edge, really revamping that defensive line. He's also very athletic for the position. Luke Whippler out of Ohio State, the center. I think he can play multiple positions along the offensive line. I guess that remains to be seen, but you can at least develop him behind some of the guys who've been around there for a couple years now. Eli Ricks, the corner out of Alabama, started his career at LSU and had some potential, did not have the season you would have hoped, but maybe that means they get good value here at pick number 115. DeWayne McBride, a really tough runner, really, I guess, just tough to tackle, honestly. He runs really hard and can provide depth in the running back room behind Jamal Williams and Alvin Kamara. Trey Palmer, wide receiver who started his career at LSU, transferred to Nebraska, could be a pretty good player to maybe make an impact, maybe like under the radar. At the very least, get a guy who can play some special teams for you. Ryan Hayes, the left tackle for Michigan, maybe plays right tackle in the NFL, maybe moves inside, depending on what you need, but I think can make the roster. And then Rajon Wright for Oregon State might have to play special teams for you, but I do think getting more than one corner in this draft is on the table for the Saints because they have a lot of different ways they can go with this draft. So I like this draft. Make sure to let me know what you think of it down in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. We will be doing mock drafts until the 2023 NFL mock draft, or until the 2023 NFL draft at the end of April. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.